Radio from the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis.
From the VON Newsline, this is the VON Major Newscast.
Good evening. I am Tashon Tyson, in with you over in the news package for today, Tuesday, May 14, 2019. In our lead stories. Nationally, U.S. billionaire remanded to Her Majesty's prison on drug charges, and Magistrates Code of Procedure Amendment Bill 2019 passed. Regionally, UNICEF partners with Guyana to assist migrant Venezuelan children. Internationally, U.S. Secretary of State and Russian counterpart talks about rebuilding a relationship between Russia and the U.S. And in sports, Portland Trailblazers to compete against Golden State Warriors this evening in the Western Conference Finals. We'll have you the taste of these and other stories after this message.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse.
Wrong.
Welcome back. Another national news in detail. Unconfirmed reports reaching the VON Newsline indicated that the CEO of SwissX, Mr. Alcibiades David of California, who was arrested by the Anti-Narcotics Unit at the RLB International Airport on May 9th, 2019, has been rearrested and remanded at Her Majesty's prison in Barstair. This comes following his appearance at the Barstair Magistrate Court today, Tuesday, 14th May, to answer to drug charges. He was charged for possession with intent to supply, possession of controlled drugs, and importation of a controlled drug into the Federation. Indications are that Mr. David's cash bail of EC $30,000 and EC $50,000 of two sureties were revoked. Meanwhile, prior to his rearrest, Mr. Alcibiades David indicated his intentions to take legal action against Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Honorable Timothy Harris. According to Mr. David, he was arrested illegally by the authorities. At a press conference on the cannabis industry held at the Marriott Hotel in St. Kitts on Monday, 13th May, the CEO of SwissX explained why he is of the view he was arrested illegally.
We put out a press release, we put out a flight manifest, we put out a radio call, we downloaded the form from the government site for import and export. We appeared at the customs gate with not 11 plants, but actually 550 plants, not 5,000 plants, 550 itty-bitty little seedlings, this high, 3 inches high. 550 of them in a box this big, and I'm showing 4 feet wide for radio listeners. The point is that we had 0 drugs.
Mr. David also indicated that his visit to the Federation is for the purpose of forming partnerships with the local farmers in developing the medicinal sector.
I do not want to buy land here. Our plan is, just as we do in Switzerland, is cooperative farming. We go to the farmers, we give them the seeds, we give them the know-how, we walk them through all of the quality controls that they have to do throughout the season, and we're going to get out of this land, we would love to get 4 grows, 4 harvests a year, right? And that's where we come in with a plant that is not a drug. We come in with a plant that is a medicinal wellness plant. It is connected to marijuana, but it is not marijuana, it is hemp. And this product is bringing life and money to people that all over the world. And this place right here, or this region, the Caribbean region, is the home, ultimately, of this plant lifestyle.
CEO of SwissX, Alcibiades David. The Magistrates Court of Procedure Amendment Bill 2019 was passed in the National Assembly May 9, 2019. The bill is to amend the Magistrate Court of Procedure Act, Chapter 3.17. Attorney General the Honorable Vincent Byron described the bill as a consequential amendment. A.G. Byron was quoted as saying, "The Magistrates Court of Procedure uses certain archaic references such as jailer and keeper of prisons. One of the key objectives of the bill, therefore, would be to modernize these references." Senator Byron said that the provisions are important, setting out essential functions of the Commissioner of Corrections. In more national news. Manager of the Nevis Solid Waste Management Authority, Mr. Andrew Hendrickson. Mr. Hendrickson was speaking about the progress of the scrap metal project on Nevis. This was his feedback about the general public's interest. Hendrickson also added this. General Manager of the Nevis Solid Waste Management, Mr. Andrew Hendrickson. Meantime, nearly 1,200 tons of scrap metal from derelict vehicles have been crushed and baled so far under a project by the Solid Waste Management Corporation, SWMC, and U.S. company Enclave. That's according to manager of the authority of the sanitary landfill in Connery, St. Kitts, Mr. Lexington Bedford. At the time, he was updating staff and management of the SWMC during a general staff meeting on the state of the scrap metal processing project. These scrap metals, when baled, will be shipped off the island. The company has a 5-year contract to perform the scrap metal project. A workshop on the training of media workers in the effective and proper use of social media began at the Ocean Terrace Inn, OTI, in St. Kitts today, Tuesday, 14th May. The 3-day event is being facilitated by Miss Anika Kentish, President of the Association of Caribbean Media Workers, ACM, and Mr. Wesley Gibbons, Professional Journalism, Media Trainer and Communication Consultant. The session began with an opening ceremony at 9 a.m. In delivering remarks to a group of some 50 media participants from both St. Kitts and Nevis, Ms. Kentish stressed the importance of being able to effectively use social media and what they are seeking to achieve from this workshop.
These platforms enable us to source stories, exchange ideas, generate meaningful feedback that can help us as media professionals improve the products and the services that we offer to our respective communities. Now, what Leslie Gibbons and I are attempting to do over the next few days is to first foster an appreciation for the pervasive use of social media and the positive impact that it can have in our roles as media professionals. We hope to show that one can optimize usage and how one can optimize their usage, and we will also look at how a detailed social media policy can mitigate any of the risks associated with the use of these various platforms.
She also noted that despite the advantages of using social media, media houses must also be wary of the disadvantages and the threats posed.
While there are positive sides to social media, there's also a dark side. And that was something that was addressed in the recent World Press Freedom Day theme that spoke to the issue of disinformation. And disinformation is slightly different to misinformation, in that there are people who are out there who use social media deliberately to spread wrong information, to malign people for malicious attacks, and for their own personal gain. And we hope to explore that as well during the course of this workshop.
President of the Association of Caribbean Media Workers, Ms. Anika Kentish. Also present at the opening ceremony were Minister with Responsibility for Education, Honorable Sean Richards, Ms. Erica Walker from the UNESCO Cluster Office for the Caribbean, and Secretary General, Mr. Antonio Maynard. Sunday, 12 May 2019 was a twin observance here in St. Kitts and Nevis as the Federation observed Mother's Day and Nurses' Day. As part of the observance, VON Radio held its annual Mother's Day program, which is geared towards honoring mothers for the role they play in the lives of their children. One of the hosts of the program, retired matron Mrs. Maureen Stapleton, after paying tribute to mothers and nurses, admonished children to cherish their mothers.
Children listening to my voice, parents, you have your mothers alive. Treat them well, not just every Mother's Day because you're going with the flow and you're going with the time. Visit regularly. Find out, give a call, something. You can only have one mother, you know. One. You're responsible to look after her. And then everything else. Because if you can't look after your mother, you think you're going to look after somebody else? Good? Well, we'll have that to think about. And so God has blessed us with good mothers in the society. And mothers really look after their children through thick or thin. And so it behooves us that as children, we look out for our mothers.
The call-in program began at 12 noon and ended at 5 p.m. and saw a number of individuals calling in and paying tribute to their mothers. Meantime, the theme under which Nurses' Day was observed is Nurses, a Voice to Lead Health for All. Leading up to the day, a number of activities were held here in St. Kitts and Nevis to honor the contribution nurses make to the society. As Mother's Day was being celebrated worldwide, the St. Kitts and Nevis Association of New York held a special ceremony on Sunday, 12 May, to honor Kittitian and Nevisian mothers. Special guest speaker at the ceremony, St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party's candidate for constituency number 1, Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, had these words of encouragement for mothers.
To continue the great job that you're doing with your children, your grandchildren, or your great-grand or great-great-grand. Remember always, mothers, to speak positively in your children's lives. There is power in the tongue. And as an educator, I join my colleague who spoke to me before, and I encourage you, don't ever give up on your children. And if for some reason you are thinking that they are not where you would want them to be or where you know they should be, encourage them. Don't write them off.
Dr. Jeffrey Hanley. That's the national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com or check us out on Facebook at Von Radio or our Von Radio YouTube channel for these and other stories. News from across the region is next.
Ladies and gentlemen, this here's another one for the steppers.
Swipe to win big in 2019. That's right, the Bank of Nevis Limited is once again giving you, our valued customers, a chance to win big. Just swipe or use your Bond Visa credit card for US $100 for a chance to win a cruise for two, an iPhone XS, or a grocery dash at Best Buy Supermarket.
Say what?
Sign up for a Bond Visa credit card and automatically be entered for a chance to win. This offer ends August 31st, 2019. So tell your friends and family to swipe to win big with the Bank of Nevis. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life. Like us on Facebook or follow us on Instagram.
Welcome back. Another regional news in detail. Out of Guyana. The United Nations International Children's Fund, UNICEF, has signed a Memorandum of Understanding MOU with stakeholders in Guyana as it continues to expand its partnership on protecting migrant Venezuelan children. The document was signed yesterday between UNICEF and the Ministry of the Presidency's Department of Citizenship, the Guyana Legal Aid Clinic, Help and Shelter, Blossoms, Inc., and the regional executive offices in Regions 1 and 4 to forge greater partnerships with both government and non-government agencies to strengthen its support for Venezuelan migrants and their host communities. The document includes supporting efforts to ensure documentation of migrant children, support and access to services for sexually abused children, and ensuring access to referral services for legal aid and violence prevention and response with the Guyana Legal Aid Clinic and the Help and Shelter Organization. In February of this year, $500,000 was allotted by UNICEF to fund the provision of water and sanitation hardware, assist the Ministry of Education to build schools, capacity and hygiene promotion for Venezuelan migrants. This was done as a measure to combat issues such as child abuse and child labor among the migrants, with the focus being placed on the 4,800 migrant children living in Regions 1 through 7. During brief remarks, UNICEF Resident Representative to Guyana and Suriname, Sylvia Foy, said that the organization has been working to get information on how many children are actually entering schools. She disclosed that they are currently exploring avenues through which the schools in the border region can accommodate additional children. Out of Barbados. One of the founders of Barbados's Nation newspaper has died after a long illness, and Prime Minister Mia Mottley is among several people who have paid tribute to his contribution to the profession. Veteran journalist Harold Hoyt died at home on Sunday morning at the age of 77. He had been ailing after suffering an aneurysm while on holiday in Florida at the end of 2017. In a statement issued after his passing, Mottley said Barbados had lost one of its great patriots and she had lost a dear friend. In its tribute, the Barbados Broadcasting Authority said Hoyt's name would forever be etched indelibly on the pages of media history in the country. The Barbados Association of Journalists and Media Workers, BARJAM, also spoke highly of the late Hoyt, who founded the Nation newspaper in 1973 with several others and served as editor-in-chief for 3 decades. And finally, out of Trinidad. The Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, has dismissed the appeal in the matter of Reynaldo Anderson Alain versus the Queen and recommended that Alain serves at least 25 years under the 6 concurrent life sentences he received in 2012. This is the first time where a recommendation is being made as to the minimum length of time a prisoner serving a life sentence in Barbados should remain incarcerated before being eligible for release. In September 2010, Alain, along with an accomplice, robbed the Campus Trends clothing boutique in St. Michael in Barbados. Alain threw 2 Molotov cocktails into the store, which caused a serious fire. 6 young women who had hidden in the store during the robbery died as a result of smoke inhalation. Alain admitted his participation in the robbery and gave a self-written statement to the police. He was charged with 6 counts of murder, but in June 2011, he pleaded guilty to 6 counts of manslaughter, which was accepted by the Director of Public Prosecution. That's it for the regional news. Stay with us for news from around the world. Welcome back, and now the international news in detail. The U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov have spoken on the need to rebuild relations between the two countries. Speaking at the start of talks in Sochi in southern Russia, Mr. Lavrov called for a new constructive way of working. Mr. Pompeo said the two sides were not destined to be adversaries on every issue, and he called for understanding to be built between the nations.
We've worked closely with you on counterterrorism during my time in service in the executive branch very successfully. We've saved American lives. We've saved Russian lives as a result of that good, honest, sincere work together. And I think on issues such as arms control and nuclear proliferation, we talked about some of the regional conflicts and terrorism. I think there are spaces where we can get our teams and begin to build out a common set of understandings.
Heightened tensions between the U.S. and Iran are expected to top the agenda. Saudi Arabia says there has been an attack on 2 oil pumping stations by drones loaded with explosives. It comes a day after Riyadh said 2 of its oil tankers were sabotaged off the coast of the United Arab Emirates. The BBC's Middle Eastern correspondent Martin Patience reports.
This latest attack comes amid soaring tensions between America and Iran in the region. Saudi Arabia, an ally of the US, says the drones attacked 2 of its oil pumping stations. But Riyadh stressed that production had not been affected. A Houthi-run TV channel, citing a military official, claimed rebels had launched drone attacks against Saudi installations. A Saudi-led military coalition is currently fighting the Houthis, who are backed by Iran, in neighbouring Yemen. The Saudi energy minister said the 2 recent attacks threaten global oil supplies.
5 people are dead and 10 others hospitalized after 2 float planes collided in midair on Monday near the southeast Alaskan town of Ketchikan. The pilot on each plane was flying cruise ship passengers on tours, Princess Cruises said in a statement. All 5 people aboard the De Havilland DHC-2 Beaver died, the cruise line confirmed. The other plane, a De Havilland Otter DHC-3, carried 11 people. 10 people are receiving treatment at Peace Health Ketchikan Medical Center. 1 person is in critical condition, 3 are in serious condition, and 6 people are in fair condition. Peace Health Communications Director Beverly Mayhew has said. The fatalities were confirmed and 1 cruise ship's passenger's condition is unknown, Princess Cruises said. The planes crashed under unknown circumstances, said Federal Aviation Administration spokesman Alan Kenitzer. Weather conditions at the time of the crash included high overcast skies with 9 miles per hour southeast winds. And finally, a heroic pilot saved the lives of 89 passengers and crew members by landing his plane without any front wheels after the aircraft's landing gear failed to deploy. Footage of the emergency landing shows the nose of the Myanmar Airlines plane hitting the runway, causing sparks to fly into the air as the front of the aircraft dragged along the ground. Many have praised the actions of the plane's Burmese captain, who dumped his fuel before landing to reduce the weight of the aircraft. No one was injured in Flight UB-103's touchdown in Mandalay, Myanmar on Sunday, which became the 2nd flight to encounter problems in the country in less than a week. That brings us to the end of our news segments. The latest in sports is next.
The month of May is the month of change, and it is time to revolutionize the way you copy, scan, and print with a new Canon printer from the TDC Business Center and City Drugstore Nevis Limited. Trade in your old printer and get 25% off a brand new Canon printer in any model and 15% off each Canon printer ink you buy. Plus, enjoy specials on selected models that'll have you saving even more. May is Canon month. Visit the TDC Business Center and City Drugstore Nevis Limited for more details.
Welcome back on Other Sports in Detail. In basketball, in the Western Conference Finals, the Portland Trail Blazers will go up against the Golden State Warriors. The pregame starts at 7:30 this evening, while the official game commences at 9 o'clock. Then at 11:30, reactions from the players and coaches will be held in the post-game press conference. Tiger Woods is facing a lawsuit from the family of a bartender who worked at one of his restaurants following the staffer's death in a drunk driving accident, multiple media outlets reported Monday. The parents of Nicholas Imsberger alleged that their son, whom they allege had a habitual problem with alcohol, had been overserved after he stayed and had drinks following a work shift at the Woods, a restaurant in Jupiter, Florida, that is owned by the 15-time major champion and run by Woods' girlfriend, Erica Herman. He later died after losing control of his car and swerved across 3 lanes of highway traffic before going airborne and landing in a grassy patch, according to Florida Highway Patrol for the Palm Beach Post. At the time of the crash, Imsberger's reported blood alcohol level was more than 3 times the legal limit at 0.256. The lawsuit alleges that Woods was directly responsible for ensuring that his employees and management were not overserving its employees and customers. Woods, 43, has not publicly commented about the incident or the suit filed in Palm Beach County. He is scheduled to play this weekend in the PGA Championship at the Bethpage Black, his first tournament since winning his 5th Masters title in April. And finally, the International Cricket Council (ICC) has welcomed India's G.S. Lakshmi as the first female to be appointed to the ICC International Panel of Match Referees. The 51-year-old, who first officiated as a match referee in women's domestic cricket in 2008 to 2009, can referee internationals with immediate effect. Following close on the heels of Claire Polosak, who earlier this month became the first ever woman umpire to stand in a men's ODI, Lakshmi will be eligible to referee international games with immediate effect. That's it for sports. The General Weather Forecast is next. Welcome back. Another local weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis. Weather tonight will be partly cloudy with a 10% or slight chance of showers. There will be partly sunny skies in general tomorrow. Winds are east to southeast with speeds ranging between 15 to 28 kilometers per hour or 8 to 50 knots. Seas are not exceeding 1.5 meters or 5 feet. Sunrise tomorrow will be at 5:39 a.m. And that's her wrap up the Media News package for today, Tuesday, May 14th, 2019. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, U.S. billionaire remanded to Her Majesty's prison on drug charges, and Magistrates Code of Procedure Amendment Bill 2019 passed. Regionally, UNICEF partners with Guyana to assist migrant Venezuelan children. Internationally, U.S. Secretary of State and Russian counterpart talks about rebuilding relations between Russia and the U.S. And in sports, Portland Trail Blazers to compete against Golden State Warriors this evening in the Western Conference Finals. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Tashan Tyson, wishing you a pleasant evening.